1, 2, 3, 4.
Might have to keep one. Okay.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good morning, and welcome to Unity of Walnut Creek. We're happy to be with you this morning. And if you'd like to sing along, please wear a mask. If you don't have a mask, please raise your hand, and one of the ushers will provide you one. So please join us in singing, "We Are the Young." We are all filled with light, and we are the young. We are all filled with light, and we are the young. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. We are all filled with love, and we are the young. We are all filled with love, and we are the young. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. We are all filled with joy, and we are the young. We are all filled with joy, and we are the young. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
Well, Dimitri was here last. I wanted to tell everybody that Heart Dream has a new album out called Om is God's Sacred Sound. Downloads can be purchased at their website, heartdream.com, and they will be for sale on the table on the patio after the service. So, thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Unity of Walnut Creek and this 11:30 service. My name is Eileen.
And my name is Susan. I also welcome you. Please join us in turning to the camera and waving to the folks at home. Your presence adds to our spiritual community, and thank you for joining us.
So please join me in welcoming our guest musicians, Heart Dream, who already played for us. Joined by Melissa on keyboards and Larry on drums. Thank you all for sharing your talent with us today.
Reverend Kristen will deliver today's message. Today's message continues the Four Agreement series, Always Do Your Best.
And before we begin, I invite you to turn to your phones and silence them as we enjoy this sacred service together. Oh, sorry, I was stepping too far away.
Okay. All right, let's take a moment to be grateful for the land our center rests upon. This is Ohlone, Bayumiwak, and Yukat's land.
We honor its ancestry and are grateful for those who came before us. We commit to taking care of these sacred native grounds and Mother Earth.
Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. Our vision for the world is we envision a spiritually awakened world where all life thrives in conscious oneness.
Our mission is who we have come here to be. Let's say this together. We are an inclusive community, expanding and living our divinity in sacred service for all. Our core values are love, connection, service, and wisdom.
If you're with us for the first time, we hope you'll feel free to raise your hand so that we can acknowledge you. Do we have any new people here today? No? Where am I here? You go.
Please visit.
You go.
Oh, okay. Connection cards are available in the seat pockets in front of you. These are for everyone. With this card, you may submit a prayer request, and our team will pray with you throughout the week.
You may also share feedback or request information. Just place the card in the basket with the offering. For those of you who are viewing online, connection cards are available on the Watch Live page of our website.
Please consider comfort levels of hugging one another before and after services. We welcome you to socialize on the patio after service or visit our bookstore.
Our campus is open for on-site classes and groups. Masking is optional, although we recommend masking indoors, and it is very important to mask while singing. We have several activities to highlight this week.
Join Reverend Christian and Interfaith Faith Minister Bob Hardy for the Unity Basics class that starts Thursday, August 11th at 7 p.m. You'll learn about Unity beliefs, principles, and history, and meet new people. The class is held on-site in the sanctuary and is open to everyone, including anyone who wants to deepen your understanding of unity. All 3 sessions are required to become a member of our spiritual center.
And join us for a special memorial service for Charlene Balderston on Saturday, August 13th in the sanctuary. In lieu of flowers, the family has asked us to donate to Charlene's Memorial Fund to purchase a beautiful memorial bench that will be placed out on the lawn. And please note that on your donation, Charlene's Memorial Fund, so that we know where to tag the funds for.
Your Board of Trustees invites you to our community gathering on Sunday, August 14th at 1:30 in the sanctuary and on Zoom. You are invited to bring a picnic lunch to eat on the lawn before the gathering. During the meeting, we will share updates on our community's abundance and financial well-being, facilities, and current initiatives. Join us to get informed and connected. Bring your questions, feedback, and ideas.
We are seeking members who would like to serve on the Board of Trustees. If you're feeling that knock on your heart, please complete a board nomination application available on the patio or on our website, and submit your application by Sunday, September 18th.
Join us for a classic summer picnic on Saturday, August 20th from 3 to 6 p.m. Chill on the lawn with friends and family. Enjoy lawn games, bingo, trivia, and more. We will provide the tables, chairs, barbecue grill, water, lemonade, iced tea, and ice. Bring your own picnic goodies, including anything you want to put on the grill, other beverages, and lawn chairs. Come, have fun, and spread joy. This event is free.
If you'd like to help out during the event, please see Don Shaw. Where are you, Don? Don
There he
Shaw
is.
on the patio, and to sign up for volunteer. And finally, a reminder that Spiritual Growth Group meets in person this coming Tuesday, 7 o'clock in the sanctuary. Please see our website for a full listing, registration, and login information for all our events. As we prepare for our time of meditation, join me in taking a conscious breath and affirming our statement of faith together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. We begin with music, followed by guided meditation and silence.
I find my greatest strength when I become still and enter the silence of my deepest being. I find my greatest strength when I become still and enter the silence of my deepest being. I find my greatest strength when I become still and enter the silence of my deepest being.
And so we continue to consciously breathe into that space within us. The space where we connect in conscious oneness with that one true power and presence that animates our being, directs our lives. In making this conscious contact, we remember again who we are in truth. And that is where we find our greatest strength. So we are strengthened from within with every breath we take, unfettered by the busyness of our minds, dropping all worries and concerns, at least for these moments. And letting ourselves rest in the infinite presence and power with every breath we take. So let us enter the silence in this way. To be still and know. We prepare to come forth from our meditation. We carry with us this strengthening from within. It's touching the very essence of ourselves as divine. Beginning to live and move and have our being as the embodiment, this highest expression of who we are in truth. We come to this inner space to remember. And we remember now through our days and nights to come. And so it is.
I find my greatest strength when I become still and enter the silence of my deepest being.
Finding stillness, I see the light. The world disappears from my sight. Kindness opens heart of the land to reveal in love just who I am. Angels of peace, worries release, hands of God, angels of peace. Streaming auras, violet and blue, my spirit knows just what to do. Doing my best, my soul has grown, trusting in faith, it will be shown. Angels of peace, worries release, hands of God, angels of peace. Love woven together in the garden's mist. I am the one and all in the breath of God's bliss. Angels of peace, worries release, hands of God, angels of peace.
Thank you, Heart Dream. Aren't they like angels of peace? All right. Hello. Good morning. Again, I always feel like after we emerge from meditation, it's time to say hello again. You know what I mean? There's something fresh and new and alive in us, typically after meditation. So here we are in our 4th week of the 4 agreements. And you've all heard already what it is today, and you might know it by heart. Always do your best. So this might seem like a counterintuitive story, but we'll get to the understanding of it all. I was thinking about when I was a kid, one of the first times that I remember rebelling against my mother's wishes. So I was generally a pretty obedient kid. But this one day, it's just like something snapped inside of me. So I was standing on the threshold of the door. It was time to go to school, go catch my bus. Remember back in the day when kids actually took a bus? We had to go to the bus ourselves and wait. Anyway, it's a whole nother story. So anyway, that's what I was going to do. And so I was standing there, and I was in my tennis shoes. And my mom says, "You have a field trip today. You need to wear your school shoes." And some kind of like power rose up in me that was very unfamiliar. And I started stomping my feet. And I started yelling. And I wasn't just yelling for myself. I was yelling for every kid on the planet. And I said, "The mom's way, the mom's way. It's always got to be the mom's way. Well, today, it's going to be the kids' way." And I was like holding my ground. I don't remember how old I was, elementary school. And we just sat there in this like stare down. And I think we were both as shocked by my outburst, you know? And I think we also both knew that we had crossed some kind of threshold. No surprise I was standing on the threshold, right? That something had shifted right there in our relationship and the way things were going to go from then on. That some kind of power had been taken back, right? And so, just so you know, sometimes I forget to complete the story. I walked out in my tennis shoes with my school shoes in the bag, and just so you know, I never changed. What a rebel, I tell you. Yeah. But it's a simple story to remind us of when a child says no, what they are doing is saying no to what the Toltecs call domestication. So when we are domesticated as children, when we grow up, we make agreements. And some of the agreements we make are for our own good, right? Our safety, our well-being, our basic social skills in human society, all good. There are also other agreements that we make that are a little spirit-crushing, or maybe a lot spirit-crushing, or that withhold our authentic expression, or that don't give us a freedom of choice when we could have freedom of choice. And so all of those things begin to confine us and limit us and kind of tamp down our spirit. And it's that we are breaking when we make the new 4 agreements. It's that we are letting go of. And it's that we are saying no to. So for today's world, what happens is we internalize that experience, right? So we internalize that dominator, judge, kind of represented by the authority figure in our life. And we have then a little judge that lives inside of us that judges and criticizes, keeps boundaries and rules and tells us how it's supposed to be, right? We also internalize a victim inside of us that thinks they have no power to make change. And so then we live from those places that are very confining and limiting, and we keep activating the judge and the victim. And so it's when we make these new agreements that we break some of those binds and ways of being, and we begin to let the freedom and the truth of our spirit rise up and live and be and have its being, right, in the world. So for some of us, it's time to yell no to some of those parts, right, that are keeping our minds in bondage, and to say yes to the freedom and the truth of the spirit that wants to flow through us. And as we do, that true spirit does come forth. Has anybody ever looked back in time and said they did the best they could? Yeah, right? Or I did the best I could, or we did the best we could. And that is a wonderful way of kind of coming to a place of compassion and acceptance. And sometimes there's kind of like a heavy disappointment that comes with that statement, right? Yeah, well, they did the best they could. You know, and so there's a part of us then that really wants to still say no. But the thing about being an adult now is the no is not directed at anyone except for the old worn out story that we keep telling ourselves inside of ourselves. That's the no. It's no to that which is keeping us bound up. It's no to that which is keeping us small. So you might not have thought of doing our best as saying no, but I believe it opens a doorway to truly allowing ourselves to live the fullness of this agreement, to find the no's, that as we said in old school unity, the denials or the power of renunciation, right? To bring that forth in one of our 12 powers teachings of the 12 powers of humankind. One of them is renunciation, the power to say no to what we need to say no to. So the fourth agreement, always do your best, is really about the first three agreements, right? It's doing our best to embody and bring forth the fullness of the three agreements, which are, I am impeccable with my word, I don't take anything personally, and I don't make assumptions. I know, assumptions, that's a big one too, right? Did you all get that online? Don't make assumptions. Yeah, that's a good one. All of them. Whichever one speaks to us, right? Whichever one hits us and goes, oh, right, that one. That's the one I'm working with right now. And so that's where the juice is for us. So there was a woman, I'm going to call her Anne, that wrote about her experience with the four agreements. And she said, one day somebody handed her the book. And you know how it is sometimes you just get the right message, the right book, the right workshop at the right time. Well, it was ripe for her. And she read the entire book in a day. And then when her husband came home, she said, oh, you must read this book. And he said, okay. And so he put it on tape, and he listened to it in the car on the way to work and on the way back. And so within the span of less than 48 hours, they both had read this Four Agreements book. And it was profound. Because she realized, and probably he realized too, that they were treating each other more like enemies than allies. That they were not operating as if they were on the same team. And by reading this book and then sitting down and talking about the ways that they were making assumptions about each other, the ways that they were taking things personally, how they had not been impeccable with their word, it just like broke all those old agreements and rose up in these new agreements. She said it completely transformed their lives and their relationship from one mired in conflict to one full of the joy of companionship. That's how powerful this can be. It can happen within ourselves, it can happen in our families, it can happen in our communities as we get serious about really taking hold of these agreements and living them and living the truths of them. So at our best, we discover and unveil the spirit of ourselves, right? The essence of ourselves. And how can we do that if we don't really get to know it? So first we must acknowledge, right? There is this spiritual nature that is the truth of who I am. And over time, living in everyday life, we kind of forget, and it recedes, and then pretty soon, before you know it, our surface mind, our ego is in charge of our lives, and we're taking things personally, and we're making assumptions, and we're not being impeccable with our word, and so on. So that's just because we let the ego slide into being in charge, right? And the ego, while it serves a great purpose, is not meant to be in charge. It's like putting the kid in charge of everything, right? Just because the kid took their power back doesn't mean they should be running the household, right? And so it's the ego is meant to be behind the spirit, supporting. We still need it. We still need it to get through life, but it's not supposed to be in charge. And so when it's put in charge, there's all kind of fear and all kinds of problems. So it's to put the Spirit back in charge, to put the Spirit back in the forefront of our lives, to be the thing we show up as, the thing that we live and breathe, and that animates our relationships and our interactions. In order to do that, we must know what it is. We must know how it feels. We must know how to hear its voice, how to access it. And we won't know that unless we practice, right? And so whatever practices it is that make you come alive in spirit, that help you get to know the truth of your being, that remind you of this, that knowing of the feeling of spirit. There's the presence. I can feel it, As I'm speaking right now, I can feel it in the room, that we have some sense of collective presence of spirit. Do you feel that? Some of us will feel it at different moments than others, but it's here. It's here. It's alive. And so it's that connection, when we make that connection, to get really familiar with it. What does it feel like? What is that? What happens in me when the Spirit is present and I'm aware of that? What's happening in me? Maybe I'm not so wrapped up in here in my mind, and I'm somewhere deeper in my body. Maybe it's here or here, but there's a sense of, and there's a sense that all is well. There's a sense of something that is inspiring my life, and there is something that I can hang on to, and that I can be buoyed up by, that I can be supported by and encouraged by. There's a sense of being safe. I'm out of my anxious mind. All of those things happen when we are aware of the presence, when we touch the presence. And the more we do, the more we become familiar, the more we trust it and listen to it. Because it's like, there's spirit. I know what it sounds like. I know what it feels like. Maybe even some other senses get engaged. And then that is the place that guides me. That's the place I trust. That's the place that is in the forefront of my life, that shows up, that radiates out of my being. That's how we do our best, really, above all else, right? Is to live from that place, to touch that place, to let that place be our guide. Saying yes to Spirit is essentially the step that we need toward revealing our best selves. Don Miguel Ruiz, the author of the Four Agreements that popularized this Toltec wisdom with his book, said, when you don't do your best, you're denying yourself the right to be yourself. So it's those old agreements that kind of take us away from the truth of ourselves. And if we're not willing to do our best, or if we're not doing our best, we sort of get off kilter from that. When I think of somebody who embodies this agreement best, who embodies a sense of always do your best, this guy comes to mind. See if you can recognize him. Anybody? Forrest Gump. How many saw the movie Forrest Gump? A lot of you. Okay. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend I watched it again last night when he came to mind. I was like, all right, I gotta go down the Forrest Gump lane again. And he's so perfect for this agreement because Forrest is, he's simple in the way that he approaches life, and he stays open and present, and he has amazing experiences. I mean, he goes to meet the president a couple of different times in different scenarios, and just all these charmed things happen to him in his life, even though he's born with some pretty big challenges. He has braces on his legs, and bullies are running after him, and he runs so fast that the braces fall right off, and he continues to run, and he becomes a football champ, and he becomes, when life gets hard for him, he just starts running. And people around the United States learn about this guy who's running, and they're running behind him, right? Everybody wants a little piece in understanding what Forrest understands. And Forrest's like, I ran because it felt like running, and he runs for several years. Remember? And then he's got the long beard and the long hair. And then one day he just goes, I feel kind of tired. I think I'm going to stop running and go home. And he becomes a ping pong champion, and he's like competing with China, and he's a decorated soldier. There's just all these amazing, he comes to a shrimp boat captain. But all of these things come in Forrest's life because he's always doing his best. He is himself completely kind, open-hearted, present, and accomplished. And all of it just happens because of this natural way of being. That's what it looks like when we're in our natural way of being. There is a childlike component, not childish, but childlike component to opening ourselves and to being our truest selves, right? And that's part of what he embodies there. A lot of times when we think of this agreement, always do your best, we think of achieving, right? We think of honors and rewards and recognition and being the first in whatever it is that we do. And all of that can be about always doing our best. It can be about our very best efforts and our very best efforts, winning the game, essentially, whatever the game is that we're up to. And there's another side to that, as demonstrated by this story where this man wants to transcend human suffering. He wants to transcend his own human suffering. And he thinks about, how can I do this? He thinks, well, the Buddhists talk a lot about suffering, so I'm going to go to the Buddhist temple and see if I can get a master teacher. And so he goes and he inquires, and sure enough, they have somebody available. And he meets with this master teacher, and he says to the teacher, how many hours a day do I need to meditate in order to transcend life suffering? 4 hours? How long will it take me to transcend if I meditate 4 hours a day? And the teacher says, 10 years. He says, oh, well, I think I could do better than that. He's thinking to himself. He says, okay, how about if I meditate 8 hours a day? How long will it take me to transcend then? And the teacher says, 20 years. Well, I don't understand. Why would it take me twice as long to transcend human suffering if I'm meditating twice as much? And the teacher says, it's not about sacrifice. Live your life. Live your life fully. Love. Engage. Get out there in the world. Yes, meditate. Maybe meditate 2 hours a day. Just be, right? Be in that natural state. And of course, the point is doing our best is not necessarily about overdoing or overachieving. That depletes us, right? Remember, Don Miguel Ruiz defines, and Toltecs define sin as going against yourself. And so we never want to go against ourselves. My mom and I are doing kind of a role reversal these days, so as I'm sure a lot of you have experienced or are experiencing. So she's been staying with us most of the year, and she's dealing with a lot of loss, the loss of her home, the loss of some mobility, the loss of her short-term memory, and a lot of other things, And so she says sometimes in frustration, I'm tired of everybody telling me what to do. I think, I recognize that, right? And now I need to do my best as she did her best as a mom and take care of meeting her needs without going against myself, right? So it's the same process, isn't it? No matter what the scenario is in, we can do our best to meet the needs of our families, of our communities, of our workspaces, of ourselves, too. Because it's all about the holistic nature in which we embrace life. So we can do our best and help others and contribute to others as long as we're not going against ourselves. Then we're not really doing our best. So it's finding that place within us that, I'm always hesitant to say balance, because balance sounds like everything has to be equal. And it's not really about that, but it's about the holistic, right? The holistic sense. Sometimes we're over here a little bit, and then we're going to come over here a little bit, whatever that is. But it's knowing, right? It's that knowing that keeps us, that guides us, that keeps that fulcrum where we need it to be by coming here and testing and asking and checking and praying. So it's doing our best, no more and no less, essentially. By doing our best, Ruiz says, the old habits of misusing our word, taking things personally, And making assumptions becomes weaker and less frequent with time. As we do our best, that begins to recede. So remember when we talked about be impeccable with your word a few weeks ago, we brought forth that scripture that says from the beginning of John, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So when we think of our Word as God, then we carry it with a sense of weight and power and presence and preciousness. And we know then that that Word has the power to create or to destroy. The Word has the power to heal or to wound. The Word is that potent that it has the power to inspire or to limit. And so then we choose our words with a clarity of thought so that they are on the ends of healing, they are on the end of creativity, they are on the end of inspiration. And not taking things personally, if we just remember, neither praise nor blame defines me. Neither praise nor blame. Because not taking anything personally means not just the criticisms and the judgments, but also the compliments. That's the hard part for a lot of us because we thrive on that, right? We love to hear good things about ourselves. And so it's fine to welcome those and to say thank you to those. It's just about not getting attached to them. And that's why it's important to remember neither praise nor blame defines me. And then don't make assumptions is really just getting clear, testing assumptions, asking questions, not operating from that place where we think we got it, but instead staying fresh and present and curious. We can use Byron Katie's work we talked about last week, the 4 questions of the work. She says, is it true? Can I know it's absolutely true? Who am I when I believe this? And who would I be if I didn't believe it? And usually by the time we get through that, we feel the freedom in not believing it. If I didn't hang on to this, if I didn't believe this, if I wasn't hooked in, all shall be well. Huh? So if we imagine somebody who keeps these agreements, what does that person look like? What's an overall kind of portrait of that person? I'll just hit a couple of the highlights. That person definitely is an effective communicator. That person is somebody who recognizes that somebody else's stuff is somebody else's stuff. And they can honor and bless that person, but they don't have to try to fix them or get hooked into the drama of whatever it is that comes. This is a person who asks clarifying questions, who makes clear requests of themselves and of other people, who listens with their heart, who speaks from their heart. This is a person who is rooted in spirit. And by being rooted in spirit, they follow that innate guidance in thought and word and deed. They're not motivated by other people's compliments or held back by their criticisms. Their appreciation and worthiness is intrinsic. It comes from the source within. They listen and take what is useful and leave the rest. Is that you? Do you recognize yourself? Probably for most of us, yes, somewhat. In other places, I'm still very much a work in progress, right? So we all are in progress to our spiritual awakening, to our transcendence of the old agreements as we make these new agreements. And hopefully we're all doing our very best. Doing our best also involves community, especially for those of us who are part of an intrinsic part of a community like this, as we all are. So I just want to say I am so grateful to think back and know that we have been back together in person now for a full year. Isn't that exciting? We moved to 2 services indoors with live music and outdoor seating, which I'm glad you all take advantage of, a full year ago. And I'm so grateful to our production team who, for all these weeks, And still, every week, fine-tuning, fine-tuning, fine-tuning. We are grateful for our online audience, our in-person audience, because we are part of a whole. So our board sent out a survey recently because we were curious about the people who haven't yet come back. What's going on? You know, how can we serve you better? What's holding you back from coming? Or what inspires you to come when you do come? And a lot of you answered, so thank you very much for your answers, because it really did help enlighten us that those who aren't coming back, maybe it's because they still have COVID concerns or they live at a distance. Those were probably the most common answers. We did get a few people say some things they thought we could improve upon, which we're always, wanting to hear more of and know where you're at. So about the time that we sent the survey out, a congregant sent me, actually Susan, who's sitting in the front row, sent me this message that came from her sister from another spiritual community, a more, shall we say, conservative community. And so it's slightly edited for our purposes, but the essence of it is here, and I want to share it with you. It says, as church attendance numbers fade across the nation, and online services become very convenient, it's important to remember why in-person attendance matters. You can't experience the power of spiritual energy filling a room from your sofa. Right? And it says you can't serve from your sofa. It says we are not consumers, we are contributors. We don't just watch, we engage, we give, we encourage, we do life together. And so your spiritual community needs you, and you need your spiritual community. End quote. So this message begs today's theme of the context of our spiritual journey. And these are questions we ponder for ourselves. Are we doing our best to serve our own spiritual needs? That's number one, right? We need to know that. Are we doing our best to, we don't want to be going against ourselves. We want to be for ourselves and for our very best. And the other question is, are we doing our best to serve our spiritual community? And finally, is our community doing its best to serve us and today's collective spiritual needs? That tag is a big question, right? As the world changes, is our community staying in step with what is most needed? That is a question your board is living with, your staff is living with, we're learning about, we're researching, we're taking into prayer, and I hope you all are too. Soon we'll have a community gathering so we can talk more about those ideas. But these are all questions for us to ponder in our hearts individually and to share our responses so we can move forward together to do our very, very best, to share what we have to share with the world, to help each other stay the course, and to be the very best we can be. To say no to what doesn't work, those old agreements, and yes to what is alive now for all of us. That's the call of these agreements, to really live our very best. Imagine if our whole community, if every one of us committed fully to living these 4 agreements. What could we do together? Where would we go together? What might we co-create together? It's exciting to consider all of that, isn't it? It's super exciting to me. I hope it's as exciting to you as it is to me. So as we ask ourselves, as we respond, we do our very best to live these truths. And that's what I know you all to be about as well. So let's see what happens as we do our best, and let's affirm it together. Together, I always do my best, and so it is.
like to point out, Reverend Kristen, that I am wearing my tennis shoes today.
I'm not. Okay, our prayer chaplains are available after this service to provide personal prayer support. If you're a prayer chaplain serving today, please stand. Our prayer chaplains wear the lavender stoles.
Whether you have a joy or concern in your heart today, praying with our prayer chaplains is a powerful opportunity to have your intentions raised up in consciousness.
Now let's open our hearts to the practice of giving. I invite you to prepare your gifts as we align with the universal law of circulation. As we give, so shall we receive. In truth, there is no lack or limitation. Abundance is our true nature.
For your convenience, there are a variety of ways to financially give to this community. In addition to checks and cash, you may download the Give, G-Y-V-E, app, use the credit debit card envelopes provided on the clipboard in the back of each chair, or set up bill pay through your bank. Those of you at home, you may click on the Donate button on the Watch Live page. In the spirit of always doing our best, Dmitry Doronkin has a prosperity message for us today.
Good morning. You know how at Unity we always like to have this cheerful and optimistic messages, right? Right. Be positive, stay positive, say positive. Well, I'm here to say that as the end of June, we are $66,000 in red. For those who are not familiar with red meaning accounting, like me, for example, that means 66 up, and we receive $66,000 less than we spent. Did I say it correctly? I said it correctly. And if we go in that direction in the next 6 to 8 months, we will run out of cash. Now I got your attention, right? Just stop talking up there, stop texting, you know. What is the sound? Not that sound. A different sound. That's emergency sound. See, that's spirit right there. But I'm actually talking a little bit different sound. The light is on. The AC is working. The camera is rolling. The water was watering our lawn this morning. Do you know how much money we need to have in a year to run this space? I'm telling you, $500,000. When I joined Board of Trustees 5.5 years ago, and I looked on our budget, my mind was just like, boom. How is this possible? How is this even freaking possible, the community like us, to have that kind of money? I'm telling you, it's not just possible. We're doing this every year. And to say the truth, on summer time, we're always in red. 15, 16, maybe 20,000. But it's never been like this. Never been 66,000 in red. And of course, Board of Trustees concerns about it. Perhaps you listening to me, some of you listening to me, and thinking, oh my gosh, Dmitry, oh my gosh, oh my goodness, tell us what we can do to help. Well, I can tell you a few things to how we can help. First common thing is, can you contribute more? We like cash. I like cash. We'll take checks. One of the ways to deal with this, actually connect your bank account with our bank account, direct deposit, maybe weekly, maybe bi-weekly, maybe monthly. That helps. You know, there's actually 30 plus people watching us online right now. And I'm watching this service online. I'll always go to the website, and there is a click our website. And there is a small button up there. It has to be bigger. We have to be big like this button. Now it's just small. You click on it, donate, boom, 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 it's done. But then perhaps you're listening to me and thinking, are you kidding me? Hold your horses, Dmitry. I already give everything I could. Hey, I feel you. I'm telling you, I'm feeling you. Well, how about help us spread the word about us? We're loving, we're inclusive, we're hugging people, or not, and we always welcome everyone, right? Help us spread the word. Start putting your messages about us on your social media accounts, Facebook, YouTube. Share the videos. We're putting videos every week. Share them on your accounts. Invite your friends. Tell people around us. We're always welcoming new people. But then you're thinking, I don't really like the social media thing. I barely know how to turn on the computer. And now all my friends already here. Hey, I hear you. I'm hear you. But then maybe you contribute a little bit of your time and talent with us. We're always looking for volunteers. Well, a whole bunch of classes, whole bunch of events. We always need to help. But you may be thinking, well, I'm already here. I'm already doing everything I can. And there's only 24 hours a day. I am booked. Hey, I'm with you on that. But then, what else you can do? I can tell you what. Pray for us. And it could be just simple prayer. Let's say like something like this, right? Divine beloved Spirit, I am in you and you are in me. We are the one. You are the source of everything for us. And from this divine source, the spiritual community of the Unity of Walnut Creek continue to receive abundance flow of goodness and financial help. To continue flourish and grow to generations to come. And I know this is true. And so it is. Amen. Not yet. Focus and determination are the key for any success. So with the prayers. Pray it hard. Pray often. Pray with all your heart. And I have no doubts your prayer will get their answers. Thank you. Oh. Woohoo! And now, here we go. Please, let's bless our offering, our gifts, and repeating with me. Divine love, once with me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful.
So many lessons I have learned to learn, 'cause my mind is which way to turn. So I stop
and listen to the trees, and for God's healing whisper in the breeze. Close my eyes, go deep within,
Close my eyes, go deep within. Every day, that's where I start. Breathing slow and listening. I talk to God in my heart as I walk on the sacred path with the sun on my face. I rise above the rocky ground to the endless bliss of God's grace. Play it, Melissa. Close my eyes, go deep within. Every day, that's where I start. Breathing slow and listening. I talk to God in my heart. I talk to God in my heart. Talk to God. Hello, God, in my heart.
Yeehaw! Oh, here comes the children. Here comes the children.
Not yet.
Oh, not.
That's all right. She's speaking all the agreements back here in the moment. I love it. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit, for this abundant good that we are receiving now, that is symbolic of the good that runs through our lives and that reminds us to keep our 4 agreements, to welcome the abundance that comes as a result, and to keep our blessings flowing by saying, thank you, God. Let's do that together. We give thanks for the ever-increasing, constant flow of absolute good in our lives now. So it is. Now let's bring our children in.
We are a circle of love. We are a circle of life. Come
What?
join the circle of love.
Oh,
Come join the circle of love.
you can just talk about it.
The light in you and the light in me are one. We are a circle of love. We are a circle of life. Come join the circle of love. Come join the circle of life. The light in you and the light in me are one. The light in you and the light in me are one.
Hi everyone, I am Delilah and I'm here filling in for Michelle. Today we did have 3 children in the group with us. One of them is still playing and didn't want to come out. The other one found his mom somewhere, and then there was a lovely young lady, Katie, who hung out with me most of the time. And she would rather sit over there, so hi Katie, it's okay. Anyway, we did also talk about the 4 agreements, and we talked about the 4th one, about doing your best. And we read a really neat book called The Yet, The Magical Yet, and it's all about like sometimes you can't do things, and then eventually you can't do them yet, and eventually you end up doing them. So it was a lot of fun. I'm glad I had that experience. So thank you for coming up here with me.
And thank you, Delilah, for stepping in to yet another role. Delilah's been, she's the person who does the slides on Sundays, and yeah.
Thank you.
All right, well, let's bless our teachers. We'll include Casey, who helps our youth ministry, and Katie, and the rest of the children as well. Together? Children, youth, and teachers, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divine light within you. I invite you to close out with our prayer of protection and our peace song to follow. And Susan will be signing if you want to learn how to sign the prayer of protection and the peace song, actually. So together, the light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am present. Presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. And if you're singing with us, don't forget your mask.
1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3.
On earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God ever present, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Moment now, with every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light and the life and the love and the peace on earth right now. So let your light shine, have fun, and spread joy. Always doing our best.